Good morning, it's Lois. Today we're going to be painting rainbows. I have been remiss in doing videos for a while since the COVID crisis started. And if you've been following my videos, you'll know that I have gotten heavily involved in mask making. For the last 4 months, I made the decision to start with my small group of masked angels, and from there we participated in the Greater St. Louis 1 Million Mask Drive. The drive itself has distributed over 10,000 masks thus far. And for a while there I was acting as a sanitation hub, so I washed over, within the course of 1 month, I washed over 1,500 masks that sewers had sewed. And our group in itself has donated over and sewn over 800 masks just in our small group alone. So we've been doing a lot. Now that we're sort of gearing towards making masks for the general public, some of the needy and stuff like that, I've decided to go ahead and try to sell some of my masks that I've done from fabric. So for a while there during the mask making process, fabric was in a huge shortage. It was hard to find any decent fabric. And so I found some of the fabrics that were coming to me were like Christmas patterns and just home decor patterns that people didn't want anymore. And I wanted some fun fabrics. So for our hematology lab, I designed some right stain hematology fabric that I had printed at Spoonflower. But even printing fabric at Spoonflower became a problem during the crisis because they were down to minimum staff and they couldn't keep up with their orders. So I had gotten some cotton from Dharma Trading Company. Dharma Trading Company sells me my silk, but they also have cotton fabrics and stuff for batik. So I ordered a bunch of sateen fabric and I decided I'm going to dye myself. And I started making these protest masks at the end of the drive for friends who were protesting. And so I had some masks that I designed from fabric that I designed using batik and cotton to make these mask blanks. I'm going to show you one of the mask blanks. So for something like this, I made the stars and stripes material. I made the stars separately, and then the stripes separately, and then I sewed them together for this Aries mask. This is the Aries 2.0 mask, and this is this standard mask pattern that we've used to sew out for our masks for the Greater St. Louis 1 Million Mask Drive. And you can see there's a pocket here for a nose wire that makes it fit better. So I was making up a bunch of these blanks for a friend of mine who was participating in the protests. And then this would say something like, "I can't breathe," or "Justice for George," whatever they wanted to put on the mask with fabric markers. And I determined that fabric markers was the best. So I'm dyeing this fabric. This fabric is dyed. It is not painted. And so fabric markers will make it through the wash and add color, but won't necessarily clog the pores of the fabric, or not allow the fabric to breathe, because it's just basically like slathering on plastic. You're not going to be able to breathe through that. So when I make these blanks, I recommend you use fabric markers on them, and use them sparingly. Don't coat the whole thing with fabric markers. That way you can breathe through the fabric. This is an example of some of the blanks that I did that I either fabric painted or dyed. Fabric painted with markers or dyed. So this is dyed sheets. Because of this fabric shortage, I was forced to go and buy sheets. So I found some cotton sheets that worked very well. And there were some that were donated and upcycled. And I dyed them. And then I came back with fabric marker and did this freeform kind of head design. And then on this this one here, I actually dyed the fabric. and came back later with a fabric marker after the fabric was set in washed, and I added fabric marker to it and then sewed the whole thing up. So ideally, these are one-of-a-kind masks because these are original, and I'll probably try to sell them either online on prettymanstudios.com or at AMV on display. So I got these two head mannequins. We're calling them Hera and Persephone. They're slightly different. They kind of remind me of the Robert Palmer girls. Okay, so for those of you who remember the Robert Palmer girls, okay, so and I use them not only to display my masks, because there's really no good way to display masks, but I also have started making my cancer scarves into wearable head wraps. I'm actually incorporating a cotton cap underneath, an organic knit cotton cap underneath. So they look pretty. It's just this scarf is kind of incorporated in the cap, and then it's sort of wound around the head. So even somebody like me can wear these. I'm not very good with wrapping scarves, but I can do this. So I'm going to start wearing these head wraps myself. Maybe try to sell a couple cancer scarves. Okay, I'm not sure what happened. I'm set up here on the porch, and I apologize for the lighting situation. Okay, I'm set up here on my porch, and trying to be in the shade because I do have lupus and I'm very photosensitive. I should be wearing my hat. But I'm getting my stuff set up, and what I'm going to use for dyes and what I'm going to use to dye. So I am trying to do rainbow fabrics, and I'm trying to do rainbow fabrics to use as a blank on surgical masks, and I'm doing this specifically for Pride Month for an HIV organization, awareness organization that needs them by the end of the month, and today is the 11th of June, so I'm running out of time. I'm using sheets that I bought at the store. These are just Target Threshold 300 count cotton flat sheets. You're better off to do flat sheets if you can find them, because they're much easier to cut for what you need. And then I have some sheets that were donated to the drive, which I'm using, that are recycled, that were used, and so I'm cutting around the bad spots if I can, working around the bad spots, but I'm trying not to use the recycled sheets as much as I want to, because it's much easier to do, buy a flat sheet at the store and do it. And then I have some cotton sateen fabric off the bolt, some high-end fabric. I'll show you that. This high-end cotton sateen fabric, I bought it from Dharma Training Company based in California, and it is really high quality fabric. So I'm using that as well. But I'm going to start with the sheets. And then what I'm using for tie-dyes, or what I'm using for dyes, is what is actually very vibrant dye, and this is this tulip tie-dye kit. And what I have here is this rainbow, and the rainbow set is like $30. But you get all different colors of the rainbow. I mix this up, and what it is it comes in the bottle in this, and you can see it's kind of like a powder on the bottom of the bottle, and you're supposed to mix it with water. So, and then let it sit for 20 minutes. And so I mix it with water, but I only mix it up halfway. So my dyes are extra intense. This is what I use because it's one step and you don't need soda ash fixative for it. So I'm going to mix this up and wait 20 minutes. So the colors I have are red, yellow. The tulip dye does not come in orange. So I mix my own orange with the red and yellow. And then green, blue. Now the rainbow kit comes with an aquamarine, which you can use for your blue. And then indigo is this like navy. I use this navy. It might be called indigo. I don't know. And then violet. So some of the smaller kits come with a different shade of blue, so you can mix and match what you need for your rainbow. You don't even have to do standard colors on the rainbow spectrum if you don't want to. You can mix whatever colors you want to. And then I soak my sheets and my white fabric in just plain water for 20 minutes. So this is drenched. Try not to touch it with my gloved hands because I have dye on it. And then I will, once I get this all mixed up as much as I need, I'm going to set the camera up outside so you can see my stretcher system and show you painting rainbows. Okay, I wanted to say one more thing. While I was mixing these up, if you have 8-ounce condiment squeegee bottles like this, you can buy the powder of the tie-dye one-step tulip tie-dye. And the reason I like this is because it's one step and it's really, really bright colors. And so when I mix it up like very, twice as strong, they're very intense. And so if you have an 8-ounce bottle, you can get these. These packets are not that expensive. It's $6 for a packet, and each packet has 3 little powder packets. And you can probably do 1 bottle with 3 of these packets of the perfect intensity for dyeing. So that might be a cheaper route for you to go if you do it a lot and you're doing a lot of fabric. Okay, so this is not a glamorous job. I've got my dyes mixed up. They're sitting for a little bit, and I get dye all over my face. You can tell I've gotten too much sun. It feels like it's burning my skin. So the question is, why am I out here? Well, I'm out here for a couple of reasons. First reason is that the sunshine is going to dry my fabric so that it doesn't have to be completely dry, and I can just transfer it to the clothesline out here. The second thing is that the sun has a tendency to heat activate these dyes. They work optimally at 140 degrees Fahrenheit, so I am going to try to facilitate their bonding with my fabric and giving me some really, really vibrant colors. So that's why I'm out here. But the technique doesn't require a lot of like the Surdy method drawing and being meticulous about stuff. It's just a matter of doing some quick brush work and getting it on there. So I'm going to go upstairs, get a drink, get my Lupus sun hat, and then come down and just film. And I'll do it speed. I'll do a speed take. Look at, I got dye on my eye. This is glamorous work.
Cast my apron down, trade it for a coach key. I've been called to be a professional gypsy. I have followed you, my life. It's time to come go with me. wondrous things life has to see. Into the life of every man's dreams, worked hard, paid rent, lived well, so it would seem. I have loved and been a wife. It's time to come go with me. Let's ditch the trappings of this woeful life and be running barefoot on beaches, dwell in cabins on mountain tops, sail on the oceans, soar through the air, visit the Louvre, swim with the dolphins, and bask in the Tuscan sun, live everywhere. You and I, we're one. Our feet must be dancing. Let's take our love to newer heights of romancing. Relish life before we're old. It's time to come go with me. We'll visit all the wonders life has yet. We'll sail away together and seek out our destiny. Let's ditch the trappings of this woeful life and be. You say that I demand too much of you. I smother you with everything I do. You never will attain perfection. You want some room to breathe. You want some time to be the man you should be. I wanted you for me. You say no other lovers caught your eye, but yet you say you're telling me goodbye. I wanted you like no one other. I wanted you to be my lover. I wanted you to be with me always. I wanted you to stay. I wanted you to stay. I wanted you to stay. I wanted you.
Here's the first bit of fabric that I did. Took me the longest. I realized the key to painting it on the silk stretcher system is to stretch it out really good. So then I did this one, much faster of course, and I didn't have any pockets where color dripped because it was flat. I had to make some adjustments to my table because my front yard is not level. So I had to put a couple of boards underneath one side of the table. Okay, I'm gonna go get lunch. It is hot out here. It is 101. The way my house is set up, the sun comes up on the front of the house, and then about noonish it is overhead, so it's not beating down on me if I'm standing on the porch. But I have done many yards of fabric today, and I think I'm gonna stop because I'm worn out and because I think I have enough for 100 masks, maybe more. So I'm going to show you what I have. These are probably the best pieces of the experiment with brush painting. I do notice that technique seems to be more subtle, and so here's the best examples of the brush painting. These two here. Yeah, you know, because I use my brush and I smooth out those lines of kind of gradation. Tends to be very subtle, even though the colors themselves are bright. And so when I mixed all these up, I decided to use the same colors, primary colors of the rainbow, to do some shibori. This is the short shibori tie dye that I did, the pole dyeing, and this is the one I did with the rock. It's more of like a tie dyeing. I don't know. They call it shibori because it's a repeating pattern, and it's techniques that are used in shibori dyeing. This is the big shibori tie-dye piece, the pole dyeing. So I thought it was interesting. What we came up with. I did notice. Okay, so this pole dyeing was on the sateen cotton. You see the crispness of the cotton itself. These were done on sheets, and those were done on some sheets that I bought. So I don't remember where I got those sheets. And I would blame it on the cotton, except for the fact that I did some brush painting on this cotton, which is sateen. You see, it's very white. However, it's kind of mottled. It's not even very bright or anything. I don't like that. I'm going to have to maybe incorporate some more batiks techniques with wax and or water-based resists. But for now, I believe I have enough fabric to do 100 masks that I'm committed to doing, and then we'll see how much we have left over after that.